Hey guys, how's it going? Welcome back. So we're looking at the Concert Bass, as they call this, Minion, the JS1X from Jackson Guitars. So this is basically, well, it's a short scale guitar with a small body, great for kids, right, for beginners. Also great for any level of player, whether you're a kid or an adult, right on up through. Makes great travel guitar size apparently as well. I watched a number of videos on this particular bass before really diving more into it, and I liked pretty much a lot of what I heard. What I didn't hear anybody complain about is noise level, because yeah, cables, I don't like cables, as many of you know. I'm pro wireless, and I just prefer it because it's a cleaner signal, it's the freedom, it's not getting tangled up on stage and breaking your leg because you trip over or send your guitar flying somewhere it shouldn't. So I'm kind of a pro wireless kind of person. And different wireless systems, some have some noise and some don't. I'm using the Joyo set today. That I've had this particular set for quite a long time. Long enough that the charge port blew on the receiver, so I had to actually solder my own wires with a separate connector and charge that one differently than this one is still actually going strong. And I've had this set for quite a long time, and they were my first set for getting into wireless technology, and I really loved them at first. They're really great, but then I got spoiled and spent like 3 times the money, bought Boss, and now I have dead silence, and it's like fantastic, you know. I mean, I already had silence before, but you're always going to hear something, right, with really cheap sets. The Boss, you don't. And same with anything higher end level from the Boss, you're going to be getting superior quality sound coming through your stuff. One thing you will still hear is the louder you crank your amp, you will hear that natural sound from your amp, and that you can't escape. And that's all we get with the Joyos, other than a little tiny bit of noise from the Joyos, but at least we don't have to worry about anything going weird with grounding issues. Now that I want to discuss right away with you guys before we get into stuff. Now if you do want to know all the specs on this thing, because I'm not going to talk to you about it, check the description box below. You will find the Long and McQuaid link. If you live in Canada, order from them. Go into your local store if you want. But the specs will also be there for this particular bass. Now, this is a $279 bass in Canada. I feel that it's worth every flippin' penny. And I have no issues giving this thing a 4.5 out of 5 as far as the final star rating goes. Now, I let go of the strings. You can hear that, hopefully. That sounds like a bad ground, right? Because if you touch the strings, a lot of that goes away. And there, it's pretty much almost all but gone. Right? Depends where you touch. And you're fretting here, so. But even just to touch one string, you eliminate quite a bit of that. But then it comes right back. I don't like that, and that would sound like garbage on a recording. So I've tried different cables because I have a number of cables, different quality ranges too, and yeah, they all do it. So it's kind of like, well, I got to thinking, let's try out the Joyo, plug them in. Because here's the other thing that you need to know about this bass. Oh, silence from the strings, no more ground. The Boss Wireless is a tip ring sleeve system, and it will not fully insert into the jack that Jackson put in this thing, okay? Why? Other than being a cheap jack and the diameter is just that much of a smidgen out difference, that's about the only thing I can think of why these won't actually work in this bass at all. So it's like, what do? Well, if you have a Boss Wireless system, you have tip ring sleeve. And so the only solution would be to take off the plate, take out the jack, get a switchcraft jack, which is a little bit bigger diameter to support any kind of plug-in. They're very strong jacks too, by the way. You'll have to drill the plate, more than likely. I haven't checked that part to verify it, but on my Telecaster, I have the 2022 Affinity Tele, which is the newest version, belly cut, the whole nine. I didn't have a problem with wireless or cables. What I had a problem with is it's such a wussy jack, the way it's made for the connection point inside, that it wouldn't hardly hold a cable, let alone my wireless. So I had to go and buy a new jack, so I got a Switchcraft. And that problem is the outer diameter, but also the inner diameter is slightly just within about 0.002 difference, which is about what I think we're running into here. That's the difference on the plug. Not everything's always 100% grade A, right? But Wilkinson has always made outstanding products for inexpensive prices too. But I had to drill the plate on the Tele, so I'll probably end up doing the same thing here if I ever decide I want to use the Boss. But the Joyos plug in fine with the tip sleeve. I am going to be ordering another set of wireless ones because I want a brand new set that's also less noisier than the Joyos. So I want that cleaner tone. But I also want a higher megahertz. So I'm going from a 2.4, which I'm running now, going into a 5.8 gigahertz wireless system. And I like the idea of just a straight transmitter receiver thing. I hate having to plug something into power and still having a transmitter. It's just kind of a bit of a pain. I found a nice set of legatos on Amazon for like, well, by the time I get it here, it's probably going to be close to $100. But probably worth it. I paid $100 for these, period, several years ago, and the legatos are double the frequency basically, and 5.8, so actually a little bit more. But they're also got more channels available to switch between, just less hassle, right? But I can put up with a little bit of static noise from the amp itself because I know that's just the amp. But yeah, go wireless, man. So if your cables, even if you have like a $50, $60, $80 cable and you're still getting that ground thing where you touch it and it goes away, I would say if you still have any of that coming through, period, maybe not as bad, but still having it, you might want to consider going wireless. A lot of us guys have gone wireless, even on the forums, and we're still bugging some of the old timers. Look, upgrade, get into wireless, you'll not regret it. It's going to be the best thing ever. But just get a good wireless system. And there's some good cheap wireless systems. There's some bad expensive ones too. My recommendation for wireless generally is going to be something like the Boss system, if it's going to work out for you, because you remember you're going to have to change the jack if you want to work on this bass. But otherwise, I've not had any problems with regular guitars yet, but just the bass has been a problem where it just doesn't want to fit. I've had the Sennheiser set, much more expensive, but you have a separate foot switch box, which I believe, if I remember right, that had a built-in tuner too. But you at least had a separate dongle, which could go as a belt clip system or just as a dongle. It was a really good system, but it did have an issue with Telecasters with countersunk jacks. That was not cool. So you got to kind of pick and choose your wireless system. Boss wireless will not work with a countersunk jack like what's in the Telecasters. So these are things to look for when you're looking at wireless systems. You're going to have to figure it out yourself. But I love the Boss. They're great. I had a Line 6 system here for a while, and that was pretty impressive. And it had a lot of extra toys that I'd never even use ever, but they were there if I ever changed my mind, right? I think a wireless system should be just that, wireless. We don't need all that extra garbage. So we do have a PJ configuration for pickups. They're both single. It's all single coil pickups in this. So your P pickup is here in the bridge. Your J is here. You can upgrade these, to better pickups if you wanted to. Now we do have 2 master volumes and 1 master tone. Okay, so if we turn the middle knob, which is our bridge, all the way off, this is just our neck. And then, of course, we turn that on, turn the neck off. other thing that's really cool, there's no blender knob, but you can still blend the pickups kind of, right? But if we hit the string here, well, turn these both up. So we hit the string, and if you hit just the right little spot, you'll hear the difference. A bit of a tonal shift there. Now we do the same thing with the neck. A little bit more present. See how it quiets down and it loses the growl, eh? A little bit. So it doesn't take much to really alter the tone a lot. So that's also really cool. So pretty sensitive dials, love it. But yeah, I give it a 4.5 out of 5. It's worth the $2.79 Canadian. It's very versatile. It can be played by anybody, basically. You know, as far as size goes, it's gonna, you know, it's great beginner guitar for kids, teens, adults, whatever, advanced players, everybody, right? This is a bass that can last you pretty much a long, long, long time, okay? If you wear it out, go buy another one, because, man, these things are fun. Now, there's always pros and cons, right? So, one thing I can't really pick on is the strings. As much as I dislike round wounds, okay, look, I got spoiled with the EBO. Somebody put flat wounds on. I can play that thing for an hour. My fingers are fine. This thing I get into about 5 minutes, and my fingertips really start to hurt. And I'm not exactly pressing super hard. I'm just pressing hard enough to make sure I'm not buzzing the crumb out of it, right? So, I mean, I know about pressures, right? But the round wounds do bother my fingers a bit, so they will bother yours too. So if you don't have any callus, you're gonna, you know. I would probably recommend, see, I buzzed it. I'd probably recommend shopping around for some flat wounds. They can be had. It's not a big deal. I got a pack favorited in my Amazon shopping list thing because I love the flat wounds. They're also dead silent, where these make noise, right? The flat wounds are almost virtually noiseless for moving up and down the fretboard. They're fantastic. Not to mention they don't hurt your fingers, you know. So I kind of like flat wounds now. I'm really spoiled now with the EBO. So, but I can't really pick on that. That's the thing, because it's just all basses come with round wounds unless otherwise on there. You know what I mean? Now I do suck at bass, so leave me alone on that one. But you've got really nice quality workmanship in this thing too. The jumbo frets are beautiful. There's no buzzing unless you do it, you know, so that's great. And I do a lot of buzzing right now. Takes a while to build up finger strength, you know. And I'm doing something out of my nature. I'm doing right-handed again. It was enough I was doing right-handed guitar. Now I'm doing right-handed bass. Plus I'm a left-handed guitar by nature for the last, you know, all my life. But it's hard to find short-scale basses in left-handed. There's very few of them, in fact. But you do have the same problem with right-handed short scale. There's not that many choices out there. Very few, in fact. Which is why even when you're looking up strings, you will see like 500 to 1 ratio, basically, when it comes to strings for long versus short scale. There's just not that much there, right? And like, I kind of wonder what is the thing with people not really being into the short scale stuff. You know, I mean, it's fantastic. You know, you get so much freedom. You don't have to stretch your fingers 5 miles to get to the next fret. I mean, I like that, you know. So, but I guess some people just like to have some big thing, right? And whatever. But anyways, The finish is nice. I mean, I haven't found any blems anywhere on this thing. The tuners are also really nice on this thing as well. I don't have any issues there. I can't really find that much to bark other than the output jack would probably be my only real gripe against it, other than the fact that it's not perfect. Because as far as I'm concerned, whether it's a cheap jack or whether it's a more expensive jack on your guitar, it should have no problem plugging in whatever cable or wireless system you need to plug in, right? That's the thing. And this is the first time I've run into this issue where my Boss system would not plug into a guitar. I'm like, what the heck? You know? But yet this system is fine with the tip sleeve. I don't know. But anyhow, I have run into weak jacks a lot. That happens. So $4.10, buy a Switchcraft, throw it in, away you go, you're done. And you'll never have to replace a jack again. But this would be the only gripe I have on the bass, is just the Boss Wireless doesn't want to plug into it properly, so, or well, actually at all, so it only gets about halfway up and it gets stopped. And it's like, that's kind of odd because there's nothing blocking inside the hole. I even verified all that, and still to no avail, it does not want to plug in. So if I ever want to use my Boss, I know I'm going to have to replace that jack, which means I'm also probably going to end up having to also drill the hole bigger to support a proper outer diameter jack that has the proper inner diameter, so to support whatever I want to plug in. But that would be about my only real con to this guitar. Otherwise, I don't see any cons out there otherwise. It works. The strap buttons are really good, although I did put my own little rubber locks on just because of the type of strap I'm using that's a little bit bigger, so I don't want it to fall off. And I didn't really feel like taking time yet to put a set of Shalers on, but I'm probably going to end up putting a set of Shalers on this because I do have 2 sets of black Shalers still left in my collection, so I'll probably end up upgrading the pins to Shaler strap locks, and then I'll be done with it. But it is a nice lightweight guitar too. It's got a nice cutout in the back, you know, for your hand for getting access up into the higher frets. You know, that's kind of nice contouring they've done. So, you know, they do an amazing job. You know, I pulled the plastic off of the back already. I still got to get rid of some of that adhesive yet, but otherwise, that's fine. Just an amazing little machine. Even the maple neck is nice. So, but yeah, honestly, I only have the jack I can pick on, which I do count. I do count the jack. I can't count the strings, but you know, I definitely can count that jack as being poor. So there you go. So yeah, that's pretty much covers it. If you have questions down below, you know, in the comments section, I'll do what I can to answer them, but I think I've pretty much covered everything and some stuff that other channels didn't cover. Yeah, and even knowing what I know, yeah, I'd buy this thing again and again and again. I think it's a friggin' nice bass, you know. Jackson does make some really amazing instruments for not a lot of money, but they also have some very expensive ones too, which are really sick as well. But even their lower line, they put the same quality and workmanship even in their lower lines. It's really good stuff. So anyway, that's it. That's all. Thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed the video, and see ya.